This recitation of the temptation of Christ in the Gospel of Mark is obviously the shortest that we have of any of the Gospels. And it's very matter of fact. Jesus was in the desert for 40 days, like the Israelites were in the wilderness for 40 years. They failed. He succeeded because of his humility. Satan always appeals to our pride, to our inordinate self-love, self-importance. Jesus didn't have that, even though he was and is the King of the universe. He came to serve, not to be served. This first Sunday in Lent, I'd like to focus in on pride and the way pride affects our nearest relationships. There's a dual movement in Lent. We are certainly walking with Christ towards the cross and beyond, and we need to be with Him during those moments. We also need to take a really good, close, honest look in the mirror, as I talked about on Ash Wednesday. And this Sunday is about those closest to us, our spouses, our children, and our parents. My father had a saying, pride ruins everything. And of course, that's a typical guy statement. Wide and sweeping, right? But he's right. When man and woman get married, it's a great day, and then the combat begins. The women win all the time because they're better prepared for it, right, ladies? It may surprise you guys to know this, but every time you come to a decision, your wife's been there before you. Because she's 3 or 4 steps ahead of you all the time. And she has considered the problems from about 13 or 14 different angles while you struggle to get just one. Because this is the way women are built. They're made for casualty control. That's called family life. And they're always a step ahead. We guys, on the other hand, are linear thinkers. We see problem, fix problem, go on to the next problem. But like I said, our wives have always been there. And this can lead to a great deal of tension. Now, there are arguments that are worth having between husband and wife. Most of them are about pride on both sides. The guys who come to confession to me will tell you that I'm on the woman's side 99% of the time because they're right. This frustrates guys, and it hurts their pride, and they end up arguing about stuff that doesn't matter and making things worse. Women like control. Isn't that right, ladies? Yeah, I haven't met one in 33 years in confessional who didn't want to run the universe. So we've got our problems. The women know we're right, the guys want to be right, and we end up doing this. The problem is, we fight about stuff that doesn't matter, and the shrapnel hits the kids. Our children do not have the defense mechanisms or the body armor buildup that we have to survive these kind of encounters. They're like little open wounds. We can hurt them each and every time. We lose control. And there is no peace in the house. Children deserve peace. They deserve stability. They deserve the same parents each and every day. I'll always remember the secretary of one of the parishes where I went as a priest. She called me into her office the first day I was there and said, "Who are we going to get in the morning when you walk through the door?" And I said, "The same guy every day." And she goes, "Good. There's too many passive-aggressive guys in the priesthood. We don't need that around." What she meant to say was, she wants to be able to depend on who I am each and every day when I come to work. And that was reasonable. Our children deserve that as well. If one day we're an angel, the next day we're a Tyrannosaurus Rex, that is destabilizing. And children don't have defense mechanisms to deal with it. Many of us perhaps come from families that were destabilized. It's happening more and more. It's very hard to find Ozzie and Harriet and Dinky Beaver anymore, is it? It seems like we all carry problems with us from places we've been before, especially our families. And yet somehow we have to find the humility to deal with each other decently, for our sakes and the sake of children. Children prosper when they're loved, when the foundation is stable, when mom and dad are the same people every day, and there's not hand-to-hand combat at home every night. This is becoming harder and harder to find. We want our own, and we want to win. But when we win, everybody around us tends to lose. There needs to be humility in the house. On the other end of life, I wondered there for a long time why I had to sit there and listen to my father tell the same story 3 times in a row about his time in the army in Burma during World War II. And I all of a sudden realized that it was my job as his son to sit there and listen to it as long as he wanted to talk about it. Because that was my job for him. I got impatient. And I started looking at my watch and all the things that we do when we want to be somewhere else doing anything but what we're doing now. And oftentimes that is the challenge with our folks. Beyond all the healthcare issues and things of that sort, being impatient, being prideful, wanting to be somewhere else, not wanting to have to do this, put up with it. These are the things that come our way when our parents are older. And yet they're ours. And we are their children. And we are the ones who are sworn to care for them. And more than that, even to respect them. If Dad wants to talk about Vinegar Joe Stillwell, General Stillwell, and all those people that he met down there in Southeast Asia, I'm going to sit there and listen to him. He's gone now, and I wish I could hear those stories again. See, we live in a culture where youth, beauty, these things are prized. And when we get past that, then there's not a whole lot of respect left sometimes. The culture is heavily invested in keeping us 13 years old, as long as it can. Irresponsible, somewhat crazy. And there's no room there for taking care of those we're supposed to love. And again, if we let our pride get to us, if we think of ourselves and our time as more important than those we care for, those we love, those we came from, then we are defeated rather than winners. And the fact of the matter is, it really doesn't matter at some point what kind of parents they were. I've shared with you my home stories from time to time. It wasn't blissful. And yet, they were always mine. And yours are always yours. How we take care of those who are closest to us at both ends of life is a great factor in making up the kind of people that we are. And during Lent, it is time for us to look at those things most carefully. And be merciless with ourselves. I say that a lot. It sounds terrible, but it's true. Once we start rationalizing and making excuses for the things that we do, we're done. because that means we have put ourselves in front of service to others. So as we walk with Christ to the cross, let's remember what the cross is all about. It's about the humility of God in caring for His people and serving His people in the way that He decided to do so. I suppose it could have happened with thunderbolts and pronouncements from on high. But He preferred to become one of us, to live in a human family, to have a human mother, a foster father, to protect him. He preferred to be one of us and to serve the rest of us. No better example for the way we're supposed to behave.